citizens and meatbags from across the Twitterverse. We are here for a very exciting AMA with BirthMark. Very excited. This is a team founded by and run by citizens. As you can see, tons of citizens up here on stage with me. Wouldn't have it any other way. Tons of citizens in the office. So let's get rolling with a great conversation. Here, let's start off with intros. We're going to go from left to right, at least from my perspective. Knox, you want to kick us off with an intro for yourself, sir?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm an elite citizen and an outreach member of Neo Tokyo, besides several other communities. So I'm helping BirthMark with marketing and outreach. That's basically me.
Love it. Glad to have you up here. Jeff, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm a veteran animation director and illustrator. Graduated in the United States, worked in New York studios for about 4 years, and then went back to my home country, Turkey. And I got into Web3 space in 2021 as a no-name artist here. And I built my way and exposure up within the past 3 years while building BirthMark app as our main focus.
Love it. And if people haven't gotten a chance, definitely check out some of the amazing art that you've produced, particularly some of the stuff from Code Breakers I thought was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, there are like 2 tweets. If you would like to post them to the spaces, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem. I'll get those forwarded over to Damon here in a sec. Flip, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, so I'm a tattoo artist. I'm originally from Brazil, but I just opened up my own studio in Asbury Park. I've been tattooing for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. And yeah, I joined Neo Tokyo. I guess since it started, it took me a little while to get my citizen, but I'm here now and I couldn't be happier.
Well, pleasure to have you up here. Tiki, Tiki, you're up next.
Yeah, so I'm Tiki. I'm a tattoo artist as well. I do hand poke tattoos. Been doing it for about 20 years. Won a lot of awards, traveled the world. Joined Neo Tokyo about a year ago. I wanted to get in from the beginning, but couldn't afford it. Was too stupid to figure out the riddles. And yeah, I bought my way in. And yeah, that's how that started. But yeah, I've been tattooing for about 20 years by hand poke technique.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the hand poke style. And last but certainly not least, my co-AMA lead, co-host on the podcast, community lead, the amazing Ben. Hop on in here and give us a little introduction.
Oh, guys, you're way too kind. Really, really appreciate being here. So excited to see citizens building great projects and getting featured here. I've believe I've spoken to each and every one of you. Flip, maybe we haven't chatted yet, but believe I've spoken to each and every one of you, and I can just personally vouch for each and every one. You guys are all hardworking, amazing. You've been here through the bear market. You've been building through this whole time, contributing in every way possible. So you guys deserve all the success that you're about to get, and just it's been a pleasure to work with you guys. So excited that it can culminate in this space, and excited to see what we can drum up here in our time today.
What's up, crypto gamers? Huge shout out to our sponsor, Playable. They are inspired by gamers and funded by their community. They've got an epic game on the Epic Games Store, a third-person shooter called Nexus. Go check that out. And they're also selling nodes, folks. So if you're interested in that, go and hop on their website. It's playable.games, playable.games, and that is a 3 instead of a B, folks. Brace for impact, gamers, and prepare yourself for the sacrifice zone with Shrapnel. The world's first moddable AAA extraction-based shooter, built by a legendary, award-winning team behind some of your favorite games like Call of Duty and Halo. And they are kicking off 2024 with an absolute banger. People are finally going to be able to get their hands on Shrapnel during their early access season. And they are giving away $3 million worth of prizes. So buckle your chin straps and get ready to dive in and try and get your piece of the prize. Hell yeah. Well said, brother. Let's get this ball rolling. Would love to get an introduction on BirthMark. Usually like to kick things off from a perspective of we obviously have a lot of citizens in here who are probably familiar with BirthMark. And I'm sure we've got some newbies who have wandered in who are interested in hearing about BirthMark. Could you please paint us a picture? What is BirthMark? And we'll start from there.
Of course. First, I'd like to start with thanking all of you guys for making this AMA happen in such a short notice. I'd like to thank Ben for his great work in the past months in Neo Tokyo. He definitely killed it with all the interviews and all the building and making this process taking it to new heights. And I also would like to thank everyone who's listening to us tonight. BirthMark came out of an idea. That idea was, why don't we buy tattoos online? And this is exactly what we are trying to do. We want people to start buying tattoos online because we think if you can buy something online, you usually prefer to buy it online. The necessary technology and innovation and design weren't there until today, but with the blockchain and with a little bit of creative thinking, I think we set a standard to facilitate tattoo sales online, which includes their design sale and their inking sale, which means the application of the design on the skin. And our platform is a primary marketplace. It's a curated marketplace. So we, get tattoo artists through applications. We check if they're legit and if their work is good. And that gives our users quality control on our site. But it is open to all buyers, and it works like any other marketplace, any other niche marketplace. You could compare it to Foundation or maybe Super Rare and somewhere in between those and OpenSea. So this is BirthMark in a nutshell.
Yeah, thanks. I think that gives us a good launching off point. Also a big believer that past is prologue, and the more sort of understanding of how things came about, the better for a deeper understanding of BirthMark. So I'd love to go around the circle and just discuss what's your role at BirthMark and when did you join the team?
Well, I founded BirthMark in March 2021. After 3 months, I bought my first Bitcoin because I read the white paper and I really fell in love with the tech and its promise, decentralization, game theory, everything. It stands for the values that I stand for. And I wanted to build in this space, not just exist as an artist, because I was trying to do that in Web2 space for the past 2 decades. And I know, playing the art game is a different beast. I just like to create. I don't have a lot of clout. I'm not an influencer. So a product made much more sense in this realm, just because it's new and it's promising. Because I know I saw the birth of the internet. And at that time, instead of becoming a coder, I went and became an artist. And sometimes I look back and think maybe I should have been a builder. So this time I wanted to build something. I made research. I thought about it. I thought about 20 different projects. I wrote the pros and cons, and I decided on tattoos because, first of all, biggest promise of NFTs, in my opinion, one of the biggest promises is tokenizing real life assets. And art is big in NFTs. I think blockchain wouldn't be what it was today if it wasn't for art. And when you think about it, blockchain and tattoos share core values, which is being permanent and being immutable in essence. So I thought that was a perfect fit. There's not a reliable record of tattoos and who designed what tattoo or who started a certain tattoo style. So I thought it would be very exciting for artists to first get their work under record, under a permanent record, turn their work into digital assets that can be traded and resold and re-inked. Also, that can be incorporated into our digital identities, because I don't see tattoos as just like any other JPEG. I see tattoos something like our ENS names. It's one of our digital identities. And I think it is going to turn into a category in itself in time. And I wanted to make this reality. I saw no one was working on it at the time. I found an investor and I convinced them. I started learning some coding in order to able to communicate with our developers. We hired developers, we got them educated and all that stuff. And after some time, I got another investment. And after 3 years, right now, we have a working product. It's version 2. We already released the version 1, tested it, and then released the version 2 and tested it on Goerli testnet. And it is actually, it still needs some improvement, obviously, but it is ready to be launched. And we decided after talking with professionals and founders in Project Resource Program inside Neo Tokyo that this coding stuff never ends. So it's better to launch your product if it's working and build in public. So that's what we are planning to do early quarter 1, 2024.
Oh, great. I appreciate that. And then, Jeff, it seems like you've got a bit of a rough connection. Your voice was getting a bit robotic through there. So I don't know if you could connect to Wi-Fi, disconnect from Wi-Fi, maybe try and like leave and rejoin. But like it was a little hard to make out what you were saying.
Okay, let me disconnect and rejoin because I'm already on my cell phone. I don't trust my Wi-Fi. I turned that off, but I guess that's problematic too. I'm rejoining right now.
Sounds good. And while he's doing that, Knox would love to hear how you joined the BirthMark team, or if you were part of the founding team. Give us a little bit of your history with BirthMark.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm not a core part of the team, but I'm actually a quite core part of it, but I wasn't in the founding team members. And Jeff and I met in Neo Tokyo. Actually, when I think about it right now, all the projects that I work with are also Citizen projects. So there is Inferno Labs, there is the Kingdom, there is Extraordinals on Bitcoin. So all of these are, like people I met from Neo Tokyo, just another strength of Neo Tokyo, I guess. So Jeff and I met in Neo Tokyo, and then we discovered we are both Turkish. And then we started discussing, on the project and what we can do about it. And quickly we became friends and started working on things together. My main role with BirthMark is marketing and outreach, which is actually quite different than the traditional Degen outreach work, where you simply give away some whitelist spots and increase numbers, because here we are actually talking about Web2 tattoo artists and tattoo enthusiasts who might not know anything about MetaMask or blockchain. So we have been devising a lot of different strategies with Jeff. I'm quite excited about putting them into work, because I feel like we are moving towards a Web3 feature that we make blockchain available to ordinary people. So BirthMark has given me a chance to work on this. And yeah, I'm quite grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very excited to be a part of this project. That is basically how I got involved and how I'm working in this project.
Thanks, Knox. I appreciate that. And I'm also looking forward when Turkey IRL meetup, because that is a place I've always wanted to visit.
Well, we should set one, I guess, in Neo Tokyo. I mean, we don't have too many Turkish citizens out there, or not as far as I know. I know, for example, Music Mainnet, co-founder of Music Mainnet, is also Turkish. Maybe there are a few other people who we haven't met yet. If you are Turkish, reach out to us. Even if you are not Turkish, let us know when you're visiting Istanbul or Turkey, so we can buy you some kebab.
I love it. Flippy, would love to hear your background, how you joined BirthMark.
So it was actually like a really incredible thing, especially for me, because for years I've been trying to figure out a way to get involved in some kind of crypto project to bring tattoos, which to me is one of the most incredible parts of art. And if you think about how far back tattoos go, it's every culture on whatever corner of the earth has been doing tattoos for so long. It's just such a integral part of humans. And even before cave paintings, honestly, people were, tattooing themselves, maybe right after cave paintings. But I wanted to bring that forward into Web3, and partnering up with Jeff and Knox was it was just such a great collaboration, especially since you would imagine there's not a lot of tattoo artists interested in Neo Tokyo. So just us meeting was just like a perfect match. I was very excited when they reached out to me, and I had already seen them popping up here and there. But it was just an incredible thing. So I'm super grateful.
Oh, hell yeah. Appreciate you sharing your background. And last but certainly not least, Tiki, how'd you join the team?
So yeah, I got into Neo Tokyo just about over a year ago, and I had an idea to do something with tattoos as well. And I don't remember who, but someone told me, "Are you in talks with Jeff?" So I reached out to Jeff in January this year, and we started talking, and we just clicked immediately. We have the same ideas, the same fundamentals. Like, I think the way I think about tattoos, it's slightly different from a lot of the mainstream tattoo artists. I'm a bit more old school, but I think the values are the same. And yeah, I knew from the beginning that Jeff had a great idea, and it made no sense for me to go off and try to become competition or do something by myself. So we joined forces. So I think it's about 11, 10 months ago we started talking. And yeah, that's how that came to be. And like just mentioned, tattoos have been around for decades. And I think what BirthMark is trying to do is kind of logic in the sense of it's the future. It's kind of the best way to handle tattoos in the future. We've been missing this kind of opportunities selling online, and yeah, I just agreed with Jeff, and that's how it started.
Great. Appreciate that context. Jeff, let's see how the connection is with you. Paint us a little bit more of a picture of exactly how that marketplace works. Let's just say I'm interested in getting another tattoo. Want to get a sleeve on my other arm. What's the next steps?
All right, then I'm going to talk about the marketplace a little bit, and then you can ask me about what we are asking and what we are offering towards the end if you want, and feel free to jump in anytime. And our marketplace works like this. In order to make this a reality, we had to convert every real life transaction to web and to Web3. And I actually had a website in Web2 that I was trying to sell custom designs. And, if people like my designs, they can request inking as well. And that was actually one of my most successful and most attention getting startups. So I realized that there's a potential for that. First of all, people search for tattoos online. If you have a good SEO, they find you. And actually, I made a lot of business from there, not even making tattoos, just designing tattoos. And I also started searching similar sites. And I saw that the problem was the system is very crude because there's not a standardized way to carry on these transactions. You either do them through email or bank transfer or WhatsApp, and it gets messy. So we carry this to blockchain. And what is these transactions? What are these real life transactions that need to be converted to an online model? First of all, you have the designing of the tattoo, and then the sale of the design, and then application of the tattoo, and then sale of the application. So I look at these as 4 different processes. And usually in some third world countries or in more underdeveloped places, people expect tattoo artists to do the design for free because they're already paying for inking. That's another problem. Also, another problem is tattoo artists are doomed to work from catalogs for most of their lives, unless they're really big names or, I don't know, they're very unique. And but most of these people come from fine arts background. And I know, because I've done tattoos for years in the past, when you're sitting at the shop, you wish people to buy your design sometimes, but they, come for the 5th Spider-Man of the week. So what you do is when you log into BirthMark as a tattoo artist, first of all, you create at least one collection. And these collections are clone proxy contracts on Ethereum, which means you're paying a fraction of the gas cost to deploy a collection on the blockchain, but you are the owner of the collection. So you can collect secondary royalties wherever you can, and the contract is forever owned by you. We don't control it. As soon as you start minting NFTs from that contract, from that collection, you can start listing them for a fixed price or for an auction. When you list an NFT, half of the price is considered to be for the design and the other half is considered to be for the inking. So if a sale happens, artist receives only 50% of the price. That means they already sold the design. Good. Okay, so what happens with the inking part? The rest 50% is locked in our market contract and we cannot touch it. The only person who can unlock it is the buyer. They can choose to refund that and start degening and speculating on the secondary because maybe they bought a tattoo from overseas and they're not interested in getting it done. And but if the other case is valid, they travel or they go to wherever the tattoo parlor is, and on the day of the inking, they click on a button on the NFT page which says "Get Inked," and the funds are released to artist wallet. Artist checks the transaction and tattoos the design onto the skin. So this novel system maybe sounds simple right now and trivial, but actually it took us like maybe a year and a half to give its final form. And the reason for that is we want to incentivize people to do most crucial actions on chain, because we want to create living, breathing tattoos with a history that's going to last for generations. This is a novel concept. So think about you bought a tattoo, you got it inked, and then you sold it on the secondary, and somebody else got it, and they got it inked again. And all of this is written on the blockchain in the history of the tattoo. And after 5 transactions, Brad Pitt bought it. I don't know. All of this is going to be visible for centuries to come. So that's what I mean when I was talking about tattoos are a separate category in the digital realm as our digital identities, like ENS names.
Yeah, maybe just like also a small note, like when Jeff explains all the technical details, it might sound complicated, but actually in terms of the user perspective, it is not complicated at all. What you do is just like go to the marketplace, buy an NFT, and then send a DM to Tiki, get an appointment, have it inked, and then Tiki will get rest of the money for inking. So it is as simple as that to get a new tattoo from this marketplace.
So the problem this system solves is the bandwidth problem in the global tattoo market. When you think about it, tattoo market is trying to grow because it's growing every year. Almost half of the people in first world countries, developed countries, have tattoos. Younger generation is more likely to get more tattoos, and also tattoos are a cosmetic product, and cosmetic products still sell very strongly in bear markets. And the bandwidth problem comes from there's no online sales. You only have so many hours in a day to tattoo. You can only do 1 tattoo or 3 tattoos a day if they're small. But if you can sell those tattoos in advance as designs first, and just communicate people with their inking in the future, or maybe some of them are not going to even visit you. They're just going to flip it or forget about it. I don't know. This unlocks a whole new market for tattoo industry that has never been tapped before. It's kind of, kind of like a reverse credit card expenditure. With credit card, you spend more than you have sometimes, but with this system, you can sell more tattoos than you physically can in your studio. And I think this is the biggest value proposition of BirthMark, but this is the tip of the iceberg because we are looking at this as an octopus. It's going to have many legs in the future, hopefully, when it grows up, because we want to turn this into a lifestyle brand. BirthMark is a brand and it means permanence. And this will include us to do publications about tattoos, streaming, maybe merchandise, maybe tattoo equipments, maybe skincare products. We see this as a whole, but at the heart of it is transitioning, is finding the way to sell tattoos online.
Oh, I love it. Very like, tattooing is such a, a permanent form minus sort of like laser or cover ups. So it's cool to have, such a, a permanent art form come and be verified on the blockchain. It's a very cool mix of two industries that you wouldn't really think intuitively have something that could help each other. So very, very cool there. Curious on just like as a marketplace, obviously the tattooing portion of Web3 is relatively niche. How are you going to drive traffic to the marketplace when you're competing with some giants like Blur and OpenSea?
I'm just going to answer this very shortly, and I'm going to let Nox speak. In my mind, the answer is we're not competing with Blur or OpenSea because they're Walmart. We're Radio Shack. We're serving to a boutique specific field. And I think people are missing that right now because they're trying to share the biggest cake on the table. And the competition is vicious there. It's totally hurting the artists in the past 2 years. Nobody complained about royalties before these people came out and start competing with each other. And what we are trying to grab is the business of the future when everything is going to turn into its specialized boutique platform. Think about Facebook. Facebook was the everything app in the past. You even started using it as a news source or like Google when it first came out, but then it turned to boutique. It turned to Instagram, it turned to Snapchat, it turned to Twitter, it turned to YouTube or whatever. So I think that's where the market will go. And we want to be there before anyone else. We want to be the first to market, and we have the product ready for it. Nox, can you, tell more about our marketing plans? Because there's so much stuff to talk. We've been doing so much work. I'll let Nox speak.
Yeah. I actually, when the question was asked, I was a little bit shocked. So I heard your answer about not being a competition for Blur. Was the question about like how we are planning to compete with these marketplaces, or was it something else?
Yeah. That was the question.
Okay. Yeah. So just like Jeff said, so we are like having this marketplace for a niche target audience. But apart from that, the technological part is playing a really big role here. So of OpenSea or Blur or any other marketplace cannot really compete us in this because they simply don't have the methods of, first of all, tracking tattoos and who they come from. So we don't allow just anyone to list tattoos in this marketplace. So we are curating artists, making sure they are artists and making sure they are quality artists first to let them sell tattoos. So these people need to be having the right skills and license to tattoo people. And that simply does not exist in any other marketplaces. Secondly, other marketplaces do not have the technologies to track if a tattoo is pristine or was it like bought from secondary. Has it been tattooed already? Because the tattoo is a design, and then there's also the inking cost, and we are able to separate those different costs for buyers. When a person buys a tattoo, 50% is sent to the artist for the design, but then the other 50% is held in escrow in our smart contracts until the inking happens. And this type of technology, as you can imagine, exists in no other marketplaces. So both in terms of technology and in terms of providing users with the real tattoos and tattoo artists they are looking for, BirthMark is right now the only place which can do this.
I think that gives a good understanding there. In regard, you had mentioned a little bit of like how the payment is split up. Would love to talk a little bit about monetization. How does BirthMark make money throughout this process?
BirthMark takes 5%, which may change in the future, but we'll keep saying 5% sale fee from each primary sale. BirthMark is a primary sales marketplace. That means when you mint an NFT, you are the owner of the NFT, but the NFT is in escrow in our market contract until the first sale happens. When the first sale happens, the buyer can freely do whatever they want with it, sell it on the secondary. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Can you repeat the question, please? I'm so sleepless.
Oh, no sweat. No sweat at all. I was asking about monetization. How does BirthMark make money throughout this process?
So our main revenue model is 5% sales fees from the primary sales. But like I mentioned before, BirthMark is set to launch a lot of different ideas, a lot of different modules. And we obviously want to prioritize the most needed, the most logical ones, the most profitable ones at first. And this is going to create us many ways of revenue in the future, but those are our future plans. But in essence, we just make 5% from each sale. And there's also some more details about how the money circulates inside BirthMark. And I can get into that if you want, or we can keep it more general.
No, I'd certainly be interested. Something that jumped out at me is, let's say, someone pays 10,000 for a high-end tattoo. You pay 5,000 right off the bat to the artist. You have 5,000 sitting in escrow. Particularly, it might be something to look into. There's going to be some pros and cons of doing something similar to USDC, where you've got all of this excess cash sitting there to earn some sort of yield on it.
Yeah, that's definitely very good idea. And I'm not smart enough to set up these kind of investment systems yet, but I'll take your word for it. And we obviously don't want to gamble with people's money, but this can make a lot of sense. And also, we are going to implement USDC, multi-chain, and credit card payments in the future, the first thing.
Yeah, I think it could come into a lot of forms. Simplest is right now, like Coinbase, I think is paying like 5 and change. If you wanted to do it on chain, I'm not as familiar with those options. I think there are people looking into, doing U.S. Treasuries on the blockchain, but that's a tangent for another time. If you're ever looking to explore those sort of ideas and want to bat them around, I'm always happy to talk around that. I think sort of asset utilization is something that sometimes doesn't get as much attention in Web3 as it should.
Well, I thought I heard every possible question in the past 3 years, but this is the first time I'm hearing about this idea. So let's do it. Let's have a call.
Yeah, would love to. Would love to connect. Another question I had around BirthMark service is just obviously Neo Tokyo, the home of the metaverse, the home of crypto gaming, the home of builders. Where does BirthMark intersect with the metaverse or games? When tattooed avatar?
Yeah, that comes to the digital identity part. We are talking with some projects. Some of them we work with in Neo Tokyo, and we are reaching out or researching other projects where tattoos can be integrated, because I think one of the biggest promises of NFTs is the interoperability. Shout out to Style project from here, which is another project from Neo Tokyo, who is working on interoperability of our PFPs between games and applications. I actually had a short meeting with them last week too. And it seems like people are not really thinking about interoperability at this point, because nobody knows which products or which metaverses are going to stay 10 years from now. But as soon as we decide, all right, this one is going to be like Facebook and this one is going to be like Google or whatever, I think interoperability play is going to speed up a lot. And all we need to do is to, crop those tattoos that we get, give them a transparent background and integrate them into your character's skin. And that doesn't take much at a technical or artistic side. I've been doing animation for 20 years and it doesn't cost that much. But I think it's very cool, because if you can customize your character in a game, and if there's a tattoo layer, like the game from Neo Tokyo, The Kingdom has, their characters have layers, customizable tattoos. And why not integrate your bot own tattoos from BirthMark into those characters? That expands our IP, that expands their IP, and it also is another step towards turning digital tattoos into a part of our digital identity. And I just want to add that beyond games, we have a module planned. It's an AR module, but I think it's less of a priority right now, coming after going multi-chain and credit card payments, because I think those are more important. And that AR module, which I tested in the past, it's not very hard to do, like 8 years ago, and it works, is something that you can download from your phone app. It doesn't have to be connected to our marketplace, but it shows every minted or listed NFT on our marketplace. And you pick one, and it overlays the tattoo on your phone's camera. And you can take a picture of your arm or your leg or wherever you want to place the tattoo and send it to your friend through Instagram. And hey, look, I found this tattoo online. Do you like it? Yes, I like it. All right, I'm going to buy it. With another click, you are directed to our marketplace. So we are thinking 3-5 years down the line. We are designing all of those modules. And as we progress, we're putting them in a balance and see which one is a priority.
Well, I think that's a great idea. Anytime you can, sort of piggyback off of that social contagion of being able to spread like that, I think is a real benefit.
The hook. Yeah. You got to have a hook. I mean, tagging photos. Yeah, you tagging photos. What made Facebook today? Yeah, the wall was a very great invention, but actually when you start tagging your friends, that created the network effect. So that's what we're trying to do. That includes affiliated marketing. And if we ever do affiliated marketing, I definitely want to start with our OG holders, which are Cryptotems, SatoMask holders. And there's a new mint coming up by Tiki, designed by Tiki, our first Genesis artist. And it's going to be inscribed on Bitcoin, and that's going to expand our community with a no promises art collection a little more. And if we ever do any kind of monetization, scalability, or testing for our future functionality, we're always going to give priority to our OG holders. And if Tiki wants to say a few words about his collection, or maybe you want to jump on another subject.
Yeah, sure. So the Tiki calendar, that's it's going to be quite fun because you actually make your own art. You get to pick your own dates and create your own image. So that's something different. And just like tattoos, it's going to be customable. If you think about tattoos, you want your own tattoo. You want it to be unique. If we look back at I can give a great example is the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, his tattoo. I think literally over 1,000 people have asked me to copy it in my studio. And I don't, because all my work is original. But this whole project is kind of pointing in that direction, that you hold your NFT that proves that your tattoo is original, you're the owner. And with the same idea, we did the Tiki calendar. So every date that you pick is going to be completely unique, but you can customize it. Yeah, that idea is just an extension of what we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. It's the first customizable recursive collection on Bitcoin, actually, and our developers pulled off a great job in about a month. They learned Bitcoin transaction from scratch and built a responsive minting UI for the upcoming collection. And the reason I wanted to mention this is BirthMark is also a launchpad for tattoo artists who want to get into the degen space. And I think Tiki Calendar Mint is a testament to that. It's a beautiful minting experience. It's a very interesting customizable collection, and you can only mint one of each day on the Bitcoin blockchain. And it just ties up to our grander vision. We want to elevate artists. We want to give users a great experience for buying tattoos on their homes.
On the subject of onboarding tattoo artists, I found, I have some experience. I've gotten tattoos, worked with some artists that I really like, and some that were just like I was drunk in Myrtle Beach kind of tattooing. So I've definitely run the gambit. And I found, some are quite technologically leading with like strong sort of like marketing, real good like social media, and then some are, more using more antiquated marketing techniques. So, I think it runs the gambit from a tattoo artist perspective. So I'd love to know how you're trying to onboard these tattoo artists onto, Web3 or specifically your platform.
Yeah,
Sure.
I can give
Yeah.
the answer about that, I think. So this is actually quite the challenge for us because as an Web3 project, the tattoo artists are not easily accessible on Web3. Of course, we are blessed with the names like Philip, Tiki. I also see Claire
Claire,
among the listeners. Yes, she's a great artist as well. So we are blessed to have them here. They are both great artists and DJs. And of course, these type of people are our priority. And we have been actively reaching onto the tattoo artists on Web3 ecosystem. But of course, they are actually the minority if you think all the available tattoo artists in the world. So what we have been doing is actually preparing for a Web2 marketing campaign, especially utilizing direct outreach on Instagram and also with email marketing campaigns. We have been really busy gathering up the emails for artists from all around the world, curating them, seeing which one of them might be, interested in getting involved in our platform, creating messages for them, and also not only the creating the means of outreach, but we have also been busy creating materials such as like tutorials, audiovisual tutorials, articles on how to educate these artists if they like to learn about NFTs. But even if they don't, even if the learning barrier feels too great for them, we also have the means to offer them guestless methods to upload basically their art and sell them on our platform. So we are prepared in every way to create awareness among artists and give them the means to sell their art on BirthMark, whether in a Web3 or Web2 fashion.
Yeah, and to do that, I think we're going to be creating an official BirthMark collection, and we're going to supply these artists with the same minting site on our site, but it's going to be a fake one. It's not going to mint it on the blockchain, but it's just going to fill out a form and send us the price and the art, and we're going to list that art at that price from our collection. The only thing that they're going to be missing is if they want to make secondary royalties, they won't be owning the contract, so they can't set royalties on secondaries. But if someone doesn't know how to mint or doesn't want to learn about blockchain, probably is not going to be chasing that anyway. So we're going to be totally abstracting this process from the artist who doesn't want to learn Web3 through our email marketing and one-on-one meetings, video calls.
Awesome. Is there like tattoo artist conferences, which might be something of interest to try and onboard people to Web3, or is that not very big in that space?
It is actually big, and maybe Tiki and Flip talk more about that. And it's definitely in our plans, and we're going to be traveling around the world to tattoo conventions. But right now, our priority is wrapping up the product and launching everything so that the site and the platform works on the mainnet. So when we go to those places, we're not wasting time explaining those people something that's going to come in the future. We're going to be like, hey, this is the site, this is how you do it. And we are just gearing up for that.
Makes sense. And I think that leads to the question. We've sort of talked about future functionality, current functionality. We've jumped around a little bit. For the listeners, could you just illustrate or describe what's currently available with the BirthMark offering, and then sort of what are the next steps, a bit of a roadmap, so to speak?
Sure thing. I think we spoke about our roadmap in general terms throughout this AMA. We are going through a SITCAP seed round race tomorrow, and we have been working on it for the past 8 months. This has started with Demon's Den competition organized by SITCAP a few months back, like 6-10 months back. And there were 4 nights, 16 projects, and we came out as the winner in our night with our project BirthMark. And I don't know if any other project followed up, but I applied for SITCAP X accelerator program the next day after we won that night. And we've been preparing documents. I've done, 15 iterations of our pitch deck until SITCAP liked it and approved it. So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, no
I need a
sweat.
good night's sleep.
Oh, dude, sleep is so important. But I definitely feel you. It's been full tilt, and I can't imagine with all that's on your plate as well. What I was looking for was just for the audience.
Our deal, yeah.
Well, roadmap, but you had tangents through SITCAP X. So, as much as that
if you
is
want,
relevant.
If you want, I can just talk about the roadmap too. It's not a problem.
Sure.
Okay, so we are we're planning to launch on early Q1. We are trying to launch on January. And as soon as we launch, we're going to start working on version 3, which is going to improve the site greatly. And during that time, we're going to implement either multi-chain or credit card payments. And afterwards, we're going to be launching our upcoming collection, which is official utility PFP collection connected to BirthMark. I mean, we launched a few collections in the past, but those were just community building. Those were free drops. We never extracted any money so far in the past 3 years from the Web3 space. And after that, I would love to integrate the AR module into our app, because I think it's going to create a great hook. It's not a big deal to actually build in the development space. And after that, once all of these starts rolling, my priority is making a BirthMark secondary, because if a primary marketplace for tattoos working, we're going to need a secondary, and probably that secondary is going to be extremely low fees or no fees at all. But at least you are going to be able to see all the properties in your tattoo, which you cannot today on Blur or on OpenSea, because they are on the contract level, which means a tattoo can be inked before or pristine, or maybe it's inked 5 times or 3 times, or maybe it's still inkable until this date or not. All of these properties are the standard we innovated for trading of tattoos online. And I think a secondary market is going to be great in the future for this. And other than that, like I mentioned, we want to expand to other ventures if we are successfully moving along with BirthMark. And those include publishing, streaming, lifestyle brand, and merchandise, the immediate future.
Oh, thank you. I think that gives people a good idea of what to expect. At this stage of the AMA, I like to open it up to questions. So, Damon, keep an eye out for anybody requesting to speak. We probably have time for a question or two. And while we do that, and while we wait for people to sort of raise their hands, want to turn this over to the BirthMark team. Towards the end, I always like to ask, is there something that we didn't get a chance to cover that you are hoping to cover, something that you think the audience should know? Please now take this as the opportunity to cover whatever you'd like.
Tiki, Flip, Knox.
So,
one of you.
Yeah. So I think like what we've been talking about is very clear in the sense that NFTs are going to be part of your tattoo. Another way I see it is think about not only can you prove that you got the original tattoo by someone who started a whole new style. After you're gone, people will still be able to see it. It's something that's kind of missing in my personal feeling, is that people are losing track of who started the style. People don't know who invented a new machine or anything like that. And this way we can carry that information on. It's the NFT part is something a lot of tattoo artists don't understand it yet. But as soon as you explain to tattoo artists that you can prove that you're the original guy who did it. Customer can prove, like, okay, I got the original one of that particular artist. That's when they understand what the NFT is. And I think a lot of tattoo artists will automatically get into Web3 because it becomes very obvious and clear to them. I think now BirthMark is not talking Web3, we're just making the platform. You don't need to understand Web3, but the logic of it is very simple for tattoo artists to understand.
Yeah, I can also add a few words. This might already be obvious from everything we have talked so far, but one of our greatest difference from most of the other projects launching nowadays is that we are actually satisfying a real life need. Because most projects are purely dependent on speculative value. Of course, speculation is, like still valid for BirthMark as well, because you need to bet on the success of the project. But there is a real revenue generation model here, because a lot of people like tattoos, and we have tattoos, and more people, like the number of people getting tattoos are increasing. So it is an increasing market. It has its operational bottlenecks. And
And they
not
are
only,
not cheap.
yeah, and this is a very expensive market. So, and like Web3 is an expanding industry, and the philosophy of Web3 is very in very line with what BirthMark is doing, because tattoos are kind of immutable on your skin, and NFTs are immutable on blockchain. So like this is just like a perfect match to expand this industry on blockchain. Considering BirthMark is satisfying a real life need, and we are the first movers here, it has like too much growth potential that I cannot even estimate right now.
Yeah, and don't think we're the only ones who are working on this. Another project tried it, minted a 750K collection towards the beginning of the last bull market, the bull market that we are in. There are at least 2 to 5 other projects, some of them VC backed, working on this, and we are following all of them and trying to catch all the new ones. But you're going to start hearing about this very soon. And we already have a product that's working and that's first to market. And I don't think the other projects thought about this as long as we did. And they don't have a novel circulative system in their platform like we do right now.
Also, I would like to add too, if I can, that just like, why we're all here and crypto and Web3, I don't really believe that we're going to have less crypto in the future, the same way that I don't believe we're going to have less tattooing in the future, especially since now is probably the most popular time where somebody that's, a police officer, a nurse, or a teacher, like tattooing has never been as popular as it is today. It's something that is not as taboo as it once was. And I definitely think that just like with any art, whether it's you collect cars, you collect paintings, there's something about authenticity that tattooing, and especially with the blockchain and being involved, will always be able to guarantee you. The same way that man, I just lost my train of thought too. Sorry, my baby kept me up till 4 a.m. last night.
We're like zombies here.
Yeah, for real, but you got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But especially with in the sake of authenticity, it's oh my gosh, where was I gonna go with this? Hold on, that I might have to get back to you guys on this one. Let me think about it for a second. Let me get a glass of water too.
Don't
worry.
sweat. No
Don't
sweat.
worry, it only lives permanently on the internet forever now. So it's fine.
Oh, great.
This is what happens after 12-hour tattoo session, guys.
Oh, I totally understand that, man. That's your focus, your back, everything. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, having that, especially with the potential of BirthMark and where it can be, I can definitely see it being something where, in the future, as much as we start moving our lives into Web3 and having, as even things like VR and our reality start getting more intertwined with the internet and, Web3 and all sorts of things, it is something that the same way that you can have a knockoff Rolex or you can have the Rolex, that Rolex will still always be a Rolex. You know, there's that sense of authenticity. And there's nothing as special as a piece that was designed for you that only you have. Now, I know a lot of artists that do like to copy other people's works. Listen, that's between you and God or you and your higher power, that's fine. But I definitely think it becomes one of those and that's another thing that tattoo artists, unlike most musicians and other artists, like we spend so much time designing a piece of art that, for example, if Drake comes out with a song or Ed Sheeran, right? That song can be played a million times over. He doesn't need to write a song just for you. And it takes so much more creative input to be constantly pumping out new designs, new designs, new designs, because ultimately, inherently, as tattoo artists, because we are connecting with that person and we're spending so much time with that one person, creating that authentic experience for them, you want to create something that is authentic to them. But now, not many artists only have to do custom work for everybody. So it becomes one of those things where having that authenticity and that thing be like solidified on the blockchain that you, like Tiki mentioned, like you created this style or you're responsible for this, it kind of gives you a little bit of validation to the artist too, knowing that like even if someone does copy this tattoo, it will always be a knockoff of my tattoo because I have proof of this. And I feel like, you know, one day, most likely, as with a lot of our jobs, there's probably going to be a machine that just, you know, does your tattoo for you. But at the end of the day, to me, a painting of the Eiffel Tower or the painting of a scenery is still always going to be more valuable than a photograph. Even though a photograph is perfect, there's no mistakes, you still want that human connection. And I think as we move on 50, 100 years from now, you know, like we're still always going to crave that human connection. And as much as there are going to be, tattooing is definitely going to evolve and things, but I think the real artist, no amount of, AI, there's still going to be a soulless thing in there. Do you know what I'm trying to say with that?
I mean, world handicraft market globally is somewhere between 600 and 800 billion dollars. And we had 200 years of industrialization. If we still have a handicraft market that size, I think that validates what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that the same way that I don't think we're going to have less crypto in the future, I don't believe we're going to have less tattoos in the future. Now, they might look different, maybe, they might, and one day might even turn into a 3D printing type situation. But the point is the authenticity of knowing that, this is a tiki tattoo. He was authentically, he was one of the first tattoo artists, on Neo Tokyo. Or maybe you love that tattoo so much on your digital persona that no matter what video game you're playing, or even if we live in a Ready Player One kind of world, you want that the same way that people buy skins, for their games, like that's so important to you, and maybe that's something that, BirthMark in the future, we can integrate with gaming and things of the sort. And, people even put, filters on their Facebook picture, to help represent and express who they are. So to me, it's just a no-brainer. Like you might have something that you own that you kind of want to flex, that you want to show like, I have the authentic version. I believed in this artist before anyone knew of them. And, maybe when you play FIFA, that tattoo will be on there, or maybe when you play Call of Duty, that gets carried over to your player. And, it's, further down the line, but it's definitely that authentic part of human need, I think will always be there.
Yeah, or just buy your tattoo at leisure at your home, As simple as that.
Oh yeah, that's always going to be better.
I think it's a no-brainer. If you can buy something online, you will want to buy it online most of the time, unless you just want to go out that day and get some fresh air.
No, I appreciate you guys addressing that. That was, one of the final questions was sort of on the copy pasta. I think you guys addressed that well. I'm certainly a huge fan of the art form. Really like the innovation that you're bringing to the space. I for one am. I've been working with the same tattoo artist for my sleeve since 2020. We've been chipping away. So, certainly not jonesing to get an AI generated tattoo anytime soon, but, I'll keep an open mind. Very, very appreciative of you all taking the time to join us today. I know we've got the SIPCAP X-rays going down. So for all the citizens in here, check out the details in the Discord. I also saw a little something about Connected giving something away. So maybe hop in SIPCAP chat, see what that's all about. For you AMA guests, huge thank you to all of the guests who have joined us here today. I hope you got an entertaining and educating AMA. And yeah, thank you to all the team members. Really appreciate you guys joining.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys for inviting us and putting this together. It was incredible getting to talk to all of you guys.
Yeah, I would like to thank to all of you for making this happen. I would like to thank to all of our listeners, especially citizens, for their continued support. And I would especially want to thank to our Genesis artists, because those people are the real visionary ones who can see 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And we are very lucky to have them. And they're always going to be our partners in this journey. And not every, if there's 10,000 artists, not all of them are going to be Genesis artists. So we're going to be holding them very dear. And thank you to, thanks to all of you.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to us. And this was fun.